This can last sometimes well into the 20s. Today, or currently, we can observe that transition from childhood into adolescence is occurring earlier, especially for girls in developed countries. Some of them can start as early as 10 years old. Research has shown that intervention programs are more effective when they target these younger ages, meaning from 10 to 14, and providing prevention efforts for the stereotypical problems for this group, like depression, substance abuse, or reckless behaviors, prior to they showing these behaviors. Therefore, it is beneficial to include more than just the teenager years and include the 20 years as well. So let's talk about the 3 stages that covers this time in life. They are divided into early, middle, and late adolescence. The early one, it's roughly between 10 to 13 years old, and it begins when we notice the first body changes that spark curiosity and anxiety in our children. Their thinking is very concrete at this time. It's black or white, right or wrong. And as they explore ways to be more independent of their families, they will start asking for more privacy as well. The second stage, during the middle years, covers from 14 to 17. Physical changes will continue, and relationships, sexuality, and self-image become priorities. They struggle for more independence, so arguments with parents will be more frequent. Their thinking it's a little more abstractly, but their brains are still not fully developed. Therefore, emotions and peer pressures usually overpower logic. The last stage, it's from 18 until, as I mentioned, who knows when, and it marks the end of physical changes and the beginning of a less dramatic relationship with parents. More stable friendships and romantic relationships and a stronger individuality allow them to discuss topics in more mature ways and sometimes even look for their parents' advice. Let's go to our second question of today. So I'm ending this one, sorry. And I'm sorry, just one. As I said, the first one was a little split. And I'm gonna try to do the other one, just, sorry. I cannot answer, send the second one, so sorry. I don't know why. But basically, let's now discuss some main challenges or even controversial topics. If you are okay or feel comfortable, will you please type which specific topics concerns you more, like behaviors, peer pressure, drugs, driving. I will appreciate if you type the topics that you would like me to include. I will give you a few minutes to do so. Whatever really, okay, anxiety is one that I can see coming. What else? Attitude changes, yes, anxiety. Have you think about driving, about drugs abuse, alcohol? Those topics something that also concerns you? So let's talk about the different ones. All the concerns that we have with our young ones can be divided into 5 main categories. The first one, behaviors. And at behaviors, we can include mood changes, risky behaviors, driving not as safety as they should, drugs abuse. The second area will be body issues, in which we'll include physical changes, body piercing, tattoos, self-image eating disorders. The third area is emotions, and here we can think about peer pressure, resilience, even suicidal thoughts. Dating will include, even parents don't feel very comfortable talking about it, but it also includes sex and teen pregnancy. And the last area will be technology. It's a new area for parenthood today, and this area will affect social skills, isolation, and cyberbullying. Let's talk a little about how the brain and the behaviors are related. During the last decades, many studies have clarified the changes and the development of the brain on babies and young children and elder people as well. But this middle group, the adolescents, have been less studied. In the past decade, we have learned that the brain is the last organ in the body to reach full maturity. Therefore, during the adolescent period, the brain is not fully developed. As I used to explain during my presentations on the emotional intelligence topic, we perceive the world through our senses, and these senses go directly into our spinal cords. These sensations travel to the back and lower area of our brains, which is called the limbic system, before reaching the frontal lobe where rational thinking occurs. Therefore, we first feel and then we think. As the brain matures, we learn to wait and to be less reactive, which allowed us time to think and to analyze before reacting. Studies show that adolescents react more strongly to reward and risk than adults and children. This novelty-seeking area of their brain, the reward center, is actually more active in adolescents compared to adults and children. Neuroscientists believe that this is the reason why they respond to reward and they don't develop impulse control, meaning the lack of full connectivity of the front lobe, which is basically what make young adolescents have some kind of passion for risk-taking behavior and other challenging behaviors. We all know the negative risk that we would like our youngster to avoid. But often we forget that teenage and young adult life also require some aspect of novelty seeking and what is called positive risk taking. Starting a new job, start being a volunteer in the community, going to college, having your first romantic relationship, learning how to manage your money, renting your first apartment, buying your first car. All these things are actually positive risk. So yeah, adolescents can learn faster and build stronger connections when they are learning, but this same passion that allows them to take this positive risk also makes them more inclined to become addicted faster. Therefore, whatever other person might not be addicted to, adolescents can have any kind of exposure to alcohol or drugs might make them addict faster. The emotional parts of our brain are fully connected several years before the rational parts of the frontal lobes are fully connected. Again, the impulsivity at this age, it's how the brain is still developing and it's normal. They still need to learn how to control, to be less reactive, and to think before acting. But do not see this impulsiveness as a problem, but I will suggest to see it as an opportunity to take positive risky behaviors and encourage your child to take so. Like, for example, keep practicing a sport, even though they are not the star of the team, or to try a new hobby or a class, because they never know if they were going to be good or if they are going to love it. So those positive risks are good for them. Encourage them to try new experiences, even if you as a parent fear that they will fail. If they want to try, and it's a good learning experience, motivate them to try. Remember that they will also learn from failures. Avoid overprotecting them. It is important to learn how to recover from failures as well, and overprotecting will allow them to develop these skills. They need your guidance more than they would like to admit it, but do not forget to set boundaries. Okay to set some boundaries. For example, we know that sleep deprivation is not good for learning, so limiting the use of electronics and other distraction at night while your teen should be sleeping, it's okay. Of course, be prepared for them to resist this, but once you explain your reasons, stay firm. Stay connected and engaged in their life, even though that they will push you out. Show interest in their activities, their friends, and their feelings. But at the same time, remember that you need to provide some privacy and allow them some sense of independence. Adolescence, especially during the first two stages, the early and the middle one, it's characterized by physical changes. All children will begin experiences changes, but at a different pace. And a common side effect, if we can call it like that, is they start beginning to compare themselves to their peers. Your child's body image is influenced by many factors, and they are very, very sensitive about these topics during these adolescence years. If your child feels happy and satisfied with his or her body, and you can see that they are comfortable with it and they accept the way they look, this is considered a positive or a healthy body image. On the other side, if you notice that they feel unhappy with the way they look, if they have a negative then they have a negative or unhealthy body image. Youngsters who feel like this often want to change their body size or their shape, and this is the time when eat disorders can begin to be a problem because they want to change their bodies, and it's a negative body image that they have. With support, of course, they can change their body image through years. So how to help? Talk. Listen to them. Show your child that they are a whole person. And you also need to be a positive body role model. If you yourself are obsessed with your body, or if you consciously or not are constantly criticizing your child's body or others' body, then you're sending the wrong messages. When you talk with your kids about their friends and their activities, always highlight the personalities and their skills over their looks. Social media is another big influence on youngsters' life. Be sure that you explain how unrealistic these standards could be and how the photos, the comments, and the posts are manipulated to create alternate realities. Not everything that is posted is true or it's real. Many people create these fantasies that if you actually meet them, you will realize that has nothing in common with the real person. Tattooing and piercing are no longer considered a normal thing with just within the high-risk population. It's an everybody's phenomenon. However, it is important to identify the reasons behind your child's desire to have a body modification. Many states require parents' consent for minors to be able to get one. But remember that it's important for you to be a source of well-documented information about these body modifications and to help your teen to make a wise and a healthy decision. The American Academy of Pediatrics recently published a clinical report explaining the risk and the details of each of these procedures. Take the time to discuss with your child the positive adverse outcomes like infections, allergic reactions, and even keloid scarring. Remind them as well, because still their brain is not fully developed and they probably might not realize that all these body modifications are permanent and they cannot revert it, or if they do it, it's not completely going back to the first stage. I will email you the link of this report later along with the slides. It is challenging to watch our children grow up. We want to protect them, but we have to allow them to become independent. This delicate dancing or balance and the appropriate pace of this process will be different for each child. Even within your own family, you have 3, 2, 3, 4 kids. Each one will have a different pace and a different balance. However, it is critical to their well-being and to the health of our relationships to them, that we honor their growing independence. Tune with them to see how much independence you can allow. Because when we want to hold them back, it will backfire. They will rebel against us. We have to learn that delicate balance, as I said, between monitor their safety, but at the same time, we are guiding them to be independent. And sometimes this means simply to stay away. As parents, at times we are so worried about our children's well-being that the only thing that we notice is the problems and the back memories and the back event. We enter in this negative feedback and criticism mode that prevents us to enjoy the good in our family life. Remember to praise appropriate behavior. There's always good things that you can highlight. This will help your teen feel a sense of accomplishment and will reinforce your family values. And even when they pretend that they are not paying attention to what you say, trust me, they do. So positive reinforcement still works as it did when they were younger. Be sure that you communicate the rules and the expectations clearly. This will include the consequences for not following those. Teach responsibility by letting teens live with the natural consequences of not following the rules. For example, if he or she wants to go to the movies with their friends on Saturday, which is usually the day they are supposed to wash the car. When they ask for permission, you can say that it's okay, but you remind them then as long as the car is washed before, and that's it. Do not start reminding them every day until Saturday that they need to get the car washed before leaving for the movie, because it's their responsibility, not yours. When the time comes for the movies, if the chore was complete, be sure to say thanks, and that's it. But if not, in a very calm way, say no to the movies because they did not complete their chore. Avoid a fight. Simply state the facts by reminding them your previous deal. Always remember to respect their privacy. Most parents feel uncomfortable talking about dating and sexuality with their teenagers. Still, we have to develop the confidence to do so because they deserve to receive the appropriate information from us. Trust me, by the time they ask, they probably already read about it or talked with their friends. So this conversation should not be a one-time long lecture, but it's better if it's a series of natural, short conversations. Create a safe environment that invites your child to ask. Do not overreact or show embarrassment or a judgmental attitude. And always, always answer specifically what they ask. No more, no less, and be sure that you avoid criticism. It's just giving the facts, not your opinion at this time. Something that I used to tell my daughters is that there was no prohibited topics in our house. Once they crossed the front door, they could ask and talk about everything. I won't lie, sometimes I had to use all my will to control myself and avoid saying something like that I was sure I will regret later. Instead of yelling because I say so or that is wrong, don't you dare, I did my best to simply listen. Once I listen, I ask them questions to lead them to understand the consequences or the long-term repercussions of the behaviors we were talking about. When you listen, you will find the opportunities to identify those teachable moments to share your thoughts about a particular situation and to explain how to behave accordingly to your family's rules and expectations. This will help your youngster to create what is called mental scripts that they can use in the future when they have to deal with life events and temptation, instead of just relying on the heat of the moment, making last minute decisions and when they are trying to solve unpleasant situations. These little conversations out of the heat of the moment really makes a good impression on them because it's on a relaxed time or not on the heat of the situation. They can discuss properly and think about it. This is the event. This is how my family thinks. This is what I should do. If I don't do it, this will be the consequences. And that really, really embed into their brain and turns into scripts that they can use later. Be sure that you take your teens' comments seriously. Do not diminish what they say. You do not want them to shut down communication or to receive a wrong message that, like, for example, you do not understand or you do not respect the experiences they are living. So be sure that you take it seriously. Do not make jokes about it. Also remember that any time that you dismiss something, you make it more attractive. So instead of moving on, they will try to keep doing whatever you are either prohibiting or diminishing. All the talking in the world won't mean a thing if you don't back it up. You are a model. Whatever you are doing in your daily life and in your own relationships will help your teen to learn how to behave and what to expect in their own relationships. Sometimes when your teenager asks for something, they are not looking for your opinion or anybody else's opinion. Sometimes they just want you to listen and to be present. Be sure that you guide the conversation in a way that even if you express your opinion, they think that it was their idea, or they understand that it is okay to think differently as long as we discuss it in a respectful way. This will help to keep the communication open and will allow you to be alert in the event that a more explicit intervention is needed. So remember, always, always observe and listen. Technology. I'm so sad that I cannot pull up the other. Well, 75, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 75% of adolescents and teenagers has a smartphone. And this could affect many areas as we are going to discuss in the next few slides. Let's talk about the benefits and the risk of technology in our youngsters. So the benefits includes early learning. They have easy access and exposure to new and or different ideas and knowledge. It also increased the opportunities for social contact and to support and promote participation in different civic or community issues and events. It allows them to have a voice and to express their feelings. And this can be done even with people that are not geographically close, but far away. It also allows them to have access to information regarding their health and to receive message and information in many topics that they are really curious about it. But as everything in life, there's also some risk. Like, for example, excess of technology will affect their sleep patterns, attention, and learning. The exposure to to the blue light, it's very stimulative and it disrupts sleep. It also, the lack of sleep will have a bad effect on their school, and you should avoid allowing them to have a mobile device in their rooms during sleeping hours. And there's a lot of research that shows that we have reduced the amount of play or active time. So there's a increase of obesity in our children, which also bring a lot of health issues. We are seeing a spike in diabetic and other problems like high blood pressure, that usually was only seen on elder population, and now we can see it in teenagers as well. They also, the same way that they have exposure to new ideas and information, they will have it to inaccurate, inappropriate, or even unsafe or inappropriate content. They need to be aware, and sometimes teenagers are not, that everything that is published or posted becomes public property. So they need to be sure that they protect their privacy. And this is something that as parents we have to be very aware. And lately we have seen also an increase in cyberbullying. So keep monitoring what your child can do with there's no reason for them to have access to access to internet in a hidden place or to private place. So we already reviewed the different early stages of adolescent. We kind of understand what is going on their brains. We learn a few practical things that are occurring with them, but as a parent, how can I survive this transition? How long it's going to take? What can I do to be sure that I'm appropriately helping my child to become an adult? Let's discuss some good topics that you might consider useful. First, okay, educate yourself. So workshops like this, reading, talking to other parents with children the same age, look for resources at your school, at your child's school. Try to learn as much as possible, and remember that there's no one perfect solution. You need to observe, listen, and use what is appropriate for your child. Start talking early. Sometimes we think that our kids are too young to discuss a topic, but remember when I mentioned prior, it's not a long conversation, but many shorter one. Start talking about difficult topics soon, as much as you can. The later you wait to have these talks, the more likely your child will be to form the wrong ideas or become embarrassed about or afraid or even feel bad about their physical and emotional changes. Do not wait until a situation arises to discuss possible approaches or solutions. Start creating the mental scripts that I previously mentioned. You need to set expectations. And of course, your teen might act unhappy about the expectations when we place them. However, they need to know that their parents really care about them, to expect certain things like good grades, acceptable behaviors, and to follow the house rules. If you have the appropriate expectations as a parent, the odds are that your teen will try to meet them. But when you have unreasonable expectations, then they will try to break it. Regardless what they say, your teen may feel that you really, really care about him when you set these rules. And if you do not, they might feel that you do not care about him or her. Remember that rules might need to be adjusted accordingly to the age. Be reasonable. For example, adjust bedtime and curfews. Have your teen been very trustworthy, like, for example, following their curfew, 10 p.m. curfew on weekends? If they have been doing it, then why not try to move it to 10:30? Give it a little more space. Something that most parents feel a little concern is when their teens do not want to join them for family outings. Well, don't take it personal, but remember when you were that age, you sometimes simply didn't want to be with your family, want to be alone or with your friends. So be respectful. They do not need to attend to all family gatherings. Select the ones that they cannot miss by any chance. Pick up your battles. You don't want your house to turn into a constant fight. So select your battle. Ask your teen, for example, why they want to dress or look a certain way, and try to understand how you felt when you were at his or her age. You also might want to discuss how others might perceive them if they look different, or bring awareness of some of the messages that they might be sending and they are not aware. Help your teen understand how others will see them. Identify what you simply do not like or won't allow, or it's prohibited at your home from those things that it's simply that you feel different, but it's not against your family values or expectations. Discuss subtopics with the kids, as I mentioned, before they are exposed to them. So you help them create these mental ideas. When you talk to them about difficult events or experiences, the odds are that they will avoid it. Many people believe, oh, but if they don't know anything about drugs, let's keep it away from them, don't talk about it. Well, then your child might be caught on guard and be exposed without they actually knowing. So be sure that you cover all topics in a developmentally appropriate level. Regular communication between parents can go a long way towards creating a safe environment for all the teens in this age group. Once again, respect their privacy, keep observant, keep listening, but provide space for privacy. Of course, this goes hand by hand with trust. Tell your teen that you trust him or her, but if this trust gets broken, then reduce the freedoms until this trust is revealed again. Be aware of what they watch and read. Do not be afraid to set limits in the computer, in the TV. You need to know what they are learning from the media and with whom they are communicating online. You should avoid teens having unlimited access to TV or internet in the private. This should be even public activities. And it is not unreasonable to have cell phones and computers off limits after a certain time so they have the adequate sleep. Be empathic. Remember how you felt and how you perceived the world when you were their age. To what did you devoted your time? What were your concerns? What were your worries, your likes, your dislikes? Try to fit into your child's shoes and look the world from their point of view. Keep your eyes very open for any red flag or any sign that something is not going right. A certain amount of change is normal during the teenagers' years, but a too drastic or long-lasting switch in personality or behavior, that may be a signal of real trouble. The ones that will need professional help. These are some examples of possible red flags, like extreme weight gain or loss, sleep problems, either sleeping the whole day or not sleeping at all, rapid or drastic changes in personality from being very shy to be a risk taker or the other way. Suddenly, the old friends are not here anymore. They got a new set of friends and not in touch with the older ones. They are skipping school too often. Their grades are failing. They talk or even do jokes about suicide. They start having problems with law, or you notice that they are abusing tobacco, alcohol, or drugs. Any other inappropriate behavior not listed here, but if you notice that it lasts for more than 6 weeks, can be a underlying sign of trouble too. If you suspect something, do not hesitate. Be sure that you discuss it with your health provider or a professional counselor. Our goal is to help our youngsters to develop the needed skills and the confidence to be happy and succeed in the adult world. This challenging year will be over, trust me, sooner than you expected. So our goal is to be sure that they turn into happy and successful adults. I love this quote: to raise a child who is comfortable enough to leave you means you have done your job. They are not ours to keep, but to teach how to soar on their own. So the empty nest is actually a blessing. I hope that we have accomplished our goals and that you have a better understanding of what to expect during your children and adolescent stage and how to deal with those daily challenges or of parenting them. Do you have any questions or comments at this time? Please type them so I can answer them. I'm giving you some time. I'm going to say, as I say to my teens, don't feel afraid of asking anything or any comment that you would like to share. I got a question, how to handle a heated argument. Okay, first, I will try as much as possible to avoid getting heated, meaning that you cannot think properly, either your child, if you are completely upset about the topic. If it's needed, I will suggest to ask for a break and reconsider coming back to talk in 5 to 6 minutes. Be sure that what you are asking them, it's appropriate to something that you already explained before. Meaning, if the heated arguments start because suddenly you change the rules, you need to analyze yourself and ask yourself, why did I change the rules? If it's something that your child knew ahead of time that it was a set rule or value in your family and they want to challenge it, be sure that you provide the right reasons for this. You don't have to please them all the time. Just be sure that you are fair and keep cool and quiet as much as possible. Sometimes these conversations takes more than one time and you won't solve it in just one conversation. Does it help you a little bit, or is there anything more specific that you would like me to address? Oh, okay, thank you. And feel free to reach me individually if you want to, and we can talk about the specific of the argument that is kind of difficult at your home. Any other question or comment at this time? Remember, never feel ashamed or sorry if you have to ask for time for yourself. Showing your kids how to handle emotions and how to properly address conflicts, it's a great modeling for them. I really would like your opinion about this series that we are providing, along with the presentation and some resources. I'm gonna email you the link for a short survey. It won't take you more than 2 minutes. I will really appreciate you answering and taking the time to let us know your feedback. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you or to hear from you on the next presentations. Thank you and have a nice day.